Hallelujah. Praise God. This is Mariam again. Um, I hope you will hear my voice. I know I've taken like a full week without uploading on another video. So today I've come to talk about my childhood, like how I grew up. Um, so I'm I'm from a Muslim family, as I talked about it in my first video. I'm from a Muslim family. My father was a Muslim. My mom was a Christian. She was a Muslim, but then after she became a Christian. So I grew up knowing that she was a Christian. So uh, um, so I started schooling when with my mom. I was staying with my mom, but my dad used to come at home and see us because he was a polygamous man, so he had other wives that I didn't know at that time. So at the age of um, at the age of 5 years, he wanted to take me to his home. My dad wanted to take me to his home. My mom took me away from where we were staying, and she took me to her sister. So I stayed with her sister for like 2 years, but her sister wasn't like a good person because I went to her sister with some clothes that I had to put on pajamas for the night, like night dresses. So she would remove them. She would take them away from me and give them to her sons because she had two sons. One we were of the same age, another one was older than me. I think like 4 years older than me. So she would take away my clothes and she says, "Here, ladies don't put on trousers. Only boys put on trousers." So I felt bad, but I had nothing to do. So she took away my panties, like all the panties I had, pajamas, and other trousers that I had, and she gave them to her son. And she took away my shoes because I had shoes. I had to put on shoes while I was going to school. She took away my shoes and she gave them to her son. So by the time I was going to school, I never had shoes on my foot. I would just go without shoes. So um, I was before going to my mom's sister. I was a clever girl. Like I was clever in class. I used to be first number one in class. And when I went to her, like when I went in the village to stay with my mom's sister, I I became the last person. Like I became dull and dense. I could not even do anything, even count. Like that's what I remember. I could not count 2 plus 2. I could not add them. I only knew how to write my name, that's all. So my mom would ask my her sister for my reports, but she would not give them in because she knew I was performing bad. So after 2 years, my mom came to see me, and when she came to see me, I was really in a bad condition. Like I had the whole face was pale. I had um I had a big stomach because I used to eat a lot. Kids in the village, they eat a lot. So I used to eat a lot, and she took me back to to a city where she was staying, and I was happy about that. So when my dad found out that I had come back, he came and he took me. So when he took me to his wife, the one he was staying with. So I found there a bunch of kids, so many people, so many kids, my brothers and my sisters, because in the total number we are 19 kids. 19. So my dad had 6 wives sorry, and 19 kids. So one two of her two of her wives died, and now he has four. By the time he died, he had four. So I stayed with her and my elder sisters, my elder brothers, who didn't know me. They saw me that day, and I also saw them that day. So I stayed there. I started going in boarding schools from the age, I think from the age of 12. I started being in boarding schools, being there till when I finished, till the age of, I think the age of 19, 18, 19. That's when I stopped being in boarding schools. So there is a time I was kidnapped as a baby. I was I think like 5 years or 4 years. 4 years I think. My mom would leave me with my older brother, who's really older than me. Like I think he's 7 years older than me. So I I was staying, my mom left me with him, and she would go work. She would go, there is some market, like they go in those markets to sell stuff, but you stay there for like a week. She would stay there for a week selling clothes, and then, to get money, food for us, and she would leave us at home. At that time, I think 4 years, and my brother was I think like 10 or 11 years. So my brother sent me to fetch water, to get water from the well. I went to get water. For him, he went to play football. So as I was going, I found this tiny tin like this, and I started to play along with it. So one man found me, and he was like, "Can you leave that tin, because it will cut your foot?" And I refused to leave the tin. So the man left, and he went. So after like 30 minutes, he came back, and he found me in the same place where he left me. So he got my hand, and he was like, "I told you this thing will cut your foot. So let's go to the well, to where you're going to fetch water." I went with him, and he promised to give me, like, he kept on telling me he will give me sweets, he will give me pancakes, he will give me eggs, he will give me, he's taking me to a borehole, because at that time I didn't know a borehole, but I know um I knew I knew a well, only a well and a tap. So I wanted to see a borehole. He took me, and we passed the well. We continued to go farther. So I told him I have to first fetch water, and he was like, "No, I'm taking you to a borehole. The borehole has clear water, has good water, so I'm taking you there." So I went with him, and as we were going, we passed near my auntie's place. My auntie's place. We passed near my auntie's place with that guy, and I didn't even go there to say hi to her or anything. I just went with a guy. So I reached a place I didn't know at all, and the man started to check. It was an incomplete building. So the man started to check around for a safe place. I didn't know if what he was looking for, but when I grew up, I knew he was checking for a safe place. So he didn't find any, and we walked, and we continued to go. Afterwards, he asked me if I was tired, and I was like, no, like if I was tired, so that he carries me. And I was like, no, I'm not tired, but I want my eggs, my sweets, my pancake, and a boho. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna get them for you, but are you putting on a nika inside? Am I putting on a nika? And I was like, yes, I'm putting on a nika. And he said, okay. So we continued to go. We entered in some big house. So in that big house, I don't really remember how I escaped from him, but I remember myself running, like alone, running by myself, going uh, crying and going, like I don't even know where I was going, but I was just going, crying and calling three names, saying three names. I was saying mom, dad, and Jesus, because at that time I was staying with my mom and she was a Christian. So she would pray she would pray in our language. She would be saying yesu all the time. Maybe when she's going to fall down, she would say yesu. Like anything bad that happens, she would say yesu, yesu. So I ran calling mom, dad, yesu, that name. So I kept on running, I found, because in my country we have roads, we don't really have like highways. We have, but not like many. So I reached at an extent where I had to cross the road, and our roads are like this one is like this, and this, there are only two ways, two-way road, but one is like this, one is going like this, another one is like going like this. So at that time, I didn't know how to cross a road, but I just crossed anyway. I just reached at the road and I crossed, and I thank God, like there was no any car that was coming. So I crossed the road, I reached another side, and I continued to run while crying and saying, Jesus, mom, dad. So I found these two ladies. It was Saturday. And on Sunday, that's the day my mom was coming back. So I found these two ladies. One lady called me. One lady told me, um, what's wrong with you? And I was like, one man took me from home and he brought me this way. And the lady was like, do you know the man? I was like, yes, I know the man if I see him. So they took me to the police station. When I reached the police station, they asked me everything about myself, about my mom, like myself, what's my name, where do I stay, who's my dad, like everything. And I told them everything. So they took me to home. I reached the place and I told them that's my home. So they took me home. At that time, my brother, he had a red face. He had cried all day because he looked for me without seeing me. He looked for me everywhere he thought I could be. He had cried his eyes out. He he was so tired of looking for me. So I reached home. I it was like we were renting, so we had neighbors. One grandma, one lady who was our landlord at that time. She got me, and I stayed there. So the police told them never allow her to go to fetch water alone at this age. And the lady was like, okay. So later my brother came back and found me home. So when he found me home, he wanted to beat me, and my grandmother said no. And that grandma, who was our neighbor, um, said no, you can't beat her. So my brother showed me, he gave me food, and he told me not to say a word, not to say any word to anybody, not even mom, that I was kidnapped. So when my mom came back the next day, I didn't say a word because my brother refused me. He told me, if you tell mom, she's going to beat you and beat me as well. So I didn't say anything. So my mom, when my mom was coming back, she would come back with a liter of milk, water, um, 10-liter jerrycan of milk. So she gained and she gave her mom, I mean her friend. So her friend was like, okay, congratulations. And she was like, for what? For not, for not killing your kid. She was kidnapped by by a man, and later she came back safe. My mom was like, okay. So my mom came back and told me, you didn't tell me about this. What happened? So I told her everything, and she was like, if I was around anyway, I would beat you, but good, I was not around. So I'm glad that's how it ended, and she didn't beat me. And I thank God for everything, because I know He has been there for me. If it wasn't me, I think the three names I called, the two names didn't matter. The two names didn't matter, but the third name that I was calling, Jesus, Jesus, even though I didn't know it at the time, I didn't know it that the name was so helpful. But I know it's the name that saved me. It's the name that helped me out, to cross the road at that age. It's only God who was leading me the way, who was leading my way to reach to those people. The people take me to the police, and then police take me home. So everything, like, it was for God. It was the name that I called. So I just thank God, and I love Jesus. I just ask, like, all of you who are there who don't know about Jesus, please just try to look for him and surrender your life to him, because he's everything that a person, that a man would ever want. So thank you for listening, and thanks for watching my video. You can like and subscribe, and still you can, tell me how to do clear videos, and support me. I'll appreciate it. Thank you. May God bless you and bless your families. Thank you so much.